We're live and my microphone is unmuted. How cool is that? So I'm in the studio alone today. Let's send good vibes for me. Have you ever noticed how much energy is carried in the words, I'll do it? Not just the words themselves, but whether we actually follow through. Because when we say we'll show up, we'll help, we'll call, check in, we'll fix the thing, we'll make the plan, or we'll be there, our word becomes part of our energy. And today, I want to talk to you about something that feels simple, but is very deeply healing because your word matters. Your word is energy. And when your word matches your action, that is integrity in motion. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday, and I'm talking about the healing power of showing up. Sometimes you're not the builder, you're the bridge. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, catching the replay or watching us live. I'm so glad you're here. If you're joining us in the live, say hello down in the comments and tell me where you're watching from. And then I wanted to ask right away, do you still believe that a person's word matters? If so, drop a yes in the comments. If you believe that when someone says, I'll be there, I'll help, or I'll take care of it, that those words still carry weight. Because I believe they do. And I've been let down too, many times. But I still believe there's good humans out there. And there's people whose word does matter. And I love coming across those people. And I believe that our words do carry that kind of energy. Words aren't just words. Sometimes we think of words just kind of casual. You know, we say things. Sometimes it's like a knee-jerk reaction. We say it and we forget how powerful those words can be, especially when they are in alignment and they match with our actions. They bring us clear into integrity. So when you say these words, I challenge you to not say them just casually, but understand the power that is there when you say things like, I'll call you, I'll check on that. We should get together. I'll take care of it. And sometimes we mean it with all of our being in the very moment, but then life gets busy. We get distracted or we forget or we assume someone else will handle it. I think sometimes I'm guilty of thinking, well, I placed the seed, someone will pick it up. But I said the words, so therefore I need to back it with the energy that I put into it. Words aren't empty, they create expectation, trust. Words create an energetic connection. They create responsibility. When you say you're going to do it, you need to do it. So when our actions match our words, people are able to feel safe with us. And when our actions don't match our words, even if we didn't intend harm, something begins to feel unsettled. So that's why I say your word is your energy. Have you ever had someone keep their word in a way that really mattered to you? Maybe they showed up. Maybe they just checked in. Maybe they remembered something that was important. Maybe they helped when you really needed it. If you feel comfortable, just put one word in the comment that describes how that felt. Did you feel that you were seen, supported, relieved, loved, safe, remembered, heard, or my favorite, and I think I feel it the most when people follow through with their words is that I feel respected. So pop those in the comments. So yeah, where did Amanda come up with all of this? What's the story? What was going on this last weekend that made us think about this powerful information? So this weekend, my partner and I, we helped a friend with something that was very practical and very needed. We built a safer, more accessible steps so they could get in and out of their home more easily and with a lot more safety. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I was the construction expert in this story. That wasn't my role. But I was there. I was there to help with the planning, to keep the task moving, to think through the whole process, putting all of the pieces together. I was there to support the process. I was there because we said we would show up. And sometimes that's the whole message. We showed up and we did what we said we were going to do. And that matters. It felt good to use what was available, what was known, what was possible, and turn it into something that made another person's life safer and easier. And it reminded me that sometimes you're not the builder, you're the bridge. I love this message because it releases us from the idea that we have to know everything before we can help. You might not be the person with the power tools. You might not be the person with the technical skill. You might not be the person with the final answer. But maybe you're the person who saw the need. Maybe you're the person who connects the helper with the person who needs to be helped. There's a lot of people in my life say I sign them up for a lot of things, but it's because I know they're capable and they're possible. And maybe you're the person who just keeps the task moving of like, yep, we got this done. This is next. This is next. Kind of the conductor of things. Or maybe you're the person who says, this matters, and I'm not going to look away. That is the bridge energy. And bridge energy is so powerful. You're connecting people and places and things that need to be completed. The bridge doesn't have to be the whole destination. A bridge simply helps someone get from where they are to where they need to be. Have you ever been the bridge for someone? Maybe you connected them to a resource. Maybe you made a phone call. Maybe you encouraged them. Maybe you helped them take the next step. And maybe you were present and you listened. Drop bridge in the comments if you have ever played that role for someone. Yeah. So there's a phrase that we hear it a lot. See something, say something. And that can be important. But today I want to take that a step further. When you see the need, you need to speak with compassion and take the next right action. Because awareness is important, but action is really where that healing begins. And that action does not always have to be huge. I mean, just think about it. Before we ask about when someone listened to you or someone did something or they did those things. Remember how awesome you felt when someone just checked in. They made a call. They offered you a ride. They ask you, what do you need? And I know sometimes that's a really daunting question because sometimes we don't know exactly what it is that we need, but we know we need something. So just be aware of that. It might be saying, I don't know how to fix this, but I'll help you find someone who can. And I think this is one of the big roles in being a bridge that I do, any past work that I've worked in, many of my careers, agencies, volunteers, what the things that I do, oftentimes knowing my own limits and knowing that I can't do a particular thing, but I've always felt it my responsibility to find someone who can do that for you, who can meet that need. So I don't always know how to fix it, but I'll help you find someone who can. That is kind of one of my biggest things that I do. It might be showing up with the tools of like, hey, I had an extra screwdriver at my house and maybe it's helpful. There's been times where I showed up with something random. It's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we were missing. Maybe you showed up with lunch. You showed up with patience and presence. The point is that you don't personally have to solve every problem. The point is that when compassion moves into action, something changes. So, compassion without movement becomes a feeling. Compassion with action becomes true healing. Because integrity is energy alignment. This is where I want to connect it all to the energy, the energetics of what we bring to the table, who we are, and when it's aligned, how powerful that is. Because integrity is not just a moral idea, it's energetic alignment. It's when you say what you mean, what you choose, and what you do are all moving in the same direction. When you get all those moving parts and they're all aligned and they're really make your words and your actions your energy, and it becomes so much clearer. There's less static, there's less confusion, there's a lot less mixed messaging, less guilt, less resentment. But when we overpromise, we avoid, we delay, or we say yes when we really mean no, our energy gets really tangled up and gnarly. And that's why an honest yes truly matters. And an honest no matters too. It's the honesty that adds to that. Integrity sometimes sounds like, yes, I can help. And sometimes it's, I personally cannot do that, but I can help someone. I can help you find someone who can. And sometimes it sounds like I care, but I need to be honest about what I have the capacity for. And this is a key. It's not in alignment when it takes away from you. So think about that. There's another question for you. Do you find it easier to say yes and overextend yourself? Or do you find it harder to say yes and follow through? Don't have to explain, just put in the comments. Overextend or follow through. What are you more likely to do? Without good boundaries in place, many empaths are going to say that it's easier to say yes and overextend yourself than to say yes and follow through with it. Yeah. So, and this brings us to the next point, which I think is pretty hard hitting for some of us. It can be, and that's the difference between helping and rescuing. Some may talk about codependency enabling and getting into all of those words, but I want to break it down just to the simplicity of helping someone versus rescuing someone, because this is important too. Showing up for someone else or for anything does not mean abandoning yourself. Helping does not mean carrying everyone else's life on your back. Being the bridge doesn't mean becoming the whole road. There's a difference between helping and rescuing. When you're helping, it's honoring both the helper and the receiver. It's helping both of them. There is something for both parties to gain. Okay? When we're rescuing, it creates exhaustion, resentment, or dependency. And also, when you step in and you rescue someone, you're also disempowering them. You don't allow them the opportunity to show up and be present for themselves. You take that away from them. You take away decision making. You take away a lot of things. And as those things fade away, the exhaustion, the resentment, and that dependency really builds with you. So, aligned helping are things that say, I see you, I care, I'll do what I can honestly do. I won't promise things that I can't give. And I won't use helping as a way to avoid my own needs. How many caregivers? Oh, yes, we can take care of everybody else all day long, and we fail to take care of ourselves. Um, it is something that happens, and as you go through that healing process and you're able to identify some of your patterns of rescuing others so that you don't have to look at your own patterns and your own needs, and making sense in that way is so important. But when you can have your energy show up saying, I see you, I care, I'll do what I can honestly do. I'm not going to promise what I can't give, and I will not use helping as a way to avoid my own needs. That's clean energy. That is the embodiment of integrity. That's compassion with boundaries. Your yes is sacred and your no is honest. And so that brings me up to our angel card today. And this is our angel of joy. We play with the controls here a little bit. The message of the angel of joy is I feel radiance. I feel the radiance of joy through my whole being. I feel the joy of being who I am here and now. Angels fly because they cannot be pulled down by the gravity of self imposed gloominess. Joy is the light luminous. It comes without creating attachment or division. Let's be like the joy as it flies, and we will be winged like the angels. I just love what this card says today. And it reminds us that showing up doesn't have to come from heaviness. Helping doesn't have to come from obligation. You can do this because you want to. Integrity doesn't have to feel like a burden. And there's joy in being useful. There's joy in being able to help. There's joy knowing that your presence mattered. There's joy in doing what you said you would do. And when we help from alignment instead of resentment, there is lightness to it. That's where joy comes in. Joy is not pretending everything is perfect. It's the radiance that comes when your energy is clear and your heart is open and your actions are aligned. So, where have you felt joy showing up for you lately? Maybe it was helping someone else. Maybe it was keeping a promise. Maybe it was doing something small that made a big difference. And maybe it was taking care of yourself and doing something for yourself that brought you that joy, that energy. So let's just take a moment and really reflect. Close your eyes if you can, not if you're driving or moving around, but if you're able. At least soften your shoulders. Take in a breath. And exhale that breath. Breathe that all the way out. Let's take in another breath. That felt good. Inhale it all the way into your toes, and then exhale all the way and ask yourself, where have my words and actions been out of alignment? No shame, no blame, just awareness. Take another breath in and exhale. And a few more questions to ponder. Where have I overpromised? Where have I avoided following through? Where have I said yes when I really meant no? Where have I stayed quiet when I could have helped connect at least a next step? And bring your attention to your heart and repeat silently or out loud. I honor the power of my word. I allow my yes to be honest. I allow my no to be clean. I release the need to overpromise. I release the weight of self-imposed gloominess. I allow joy to return to my actions. I can show up with love and boundaries. I can be the bridge without becoming the burden. I choose aligned action. I choose integrity. I choose joy. Take in one more deep breath and let all of that settle as you exhale. So, as we move into this week, I want to invite you to think about one simple way you can show up. Not 10, not a giant list. One way. Maybe there is someone you need to check on. Maybe there's a promise you need to complete. Maybe there's a message you need to send. Maybe there's a task you need to finish. Maybe there's someone who needs support and you cannot do the whole thing, but you can be the bridge. You can connect them, you can encourage them, you can help them move forward to the next step. What's one word you want to show up with this week? Present, honest, helpful, clear, joyful, steady, reliable, or compassionate? Write your word in the comments. And if this conversation is landing for you, if you feel like your energy has been scattered and your words and actions have fell out of alignment, or you're trying to understand what your next right step actually is, this is exactly the kind of thing that we look at in an energy review or an energy reading. So sometimes the question's not, what should I do? It's where is my energy out of alignment with what I want? And so as we do an energy review, I intuitive look at your energy through your chakra system, your patterns and blocks. We see what's ready to shift to bring you back into clarity and alignment in that forward movement that you're looking for. So you can always book that at amandabethhealing.com/seer. You can follow me on all the socials. Check out amandabethhealing.com/Linktree, and that will get you connected to all the socials. And today I want you to remember that your words matter, your presence matter, you matter. It is so important. Your follow through. You don't have to know everything to make a difference. I didn't know how to build steps, but I was there to help and to give that moral support and help think through the process. Sometimes you're not the builder, you're the bridge. Sometimes your role is not to do the whole thing, but it's to show up and help the next right thing happen. And when your words and your energy and your actions line up, healing moves through you in a way that's honest, grounded, and joyful. So thanks for being here on Transformation Tuesday. If this spoke to you, leave us a comment, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and join me again next week, every Tuesday, Transformation Tuesday, Facebook Live, Instagram, LinkedIn, 11:30 Central Time with me. Your word is your energy. Let it be clear, be kind, be joyful, and let it be aligned. And then I want to remind you about tonight, the Chronic Health Collective. Is it love or a familiar pain? And we have 3 of our panelists from the Chronic Health Collective joining us, joining together to discuss this. Be on at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Time, YouTube, Facebook, and all of the channels. It's also on E360 TV as well. And don't forget, the Chronic Health Collective magazine has just dropped. So catch up with the articles from all of these amazing coaches as we have all chimed in. And I have to tell stories from the backside here. When everyone submitted their articles, we come from such a common place and our ideas. I mean, we're given a theme so that everybody's writing about kind of the same thing. And there's so 4 or 5 buzzwords, a statement that kind of everyone is provided with. And on the first proof of the magazine, some of the coaches thought, oh, there's a typo. You've got everyone's titles are the same. No, we just all think that much alike. And so we've done some change up on the titles to really help our articles stand out. But just know it's an amazing group of people that you can always turn towards to get in better alignment in whatever it is that you're going through. The Chronic Health Collective, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. And look forward to seeing you all there. Oh, and don't forget, the Fire Within, the Des Moines Metaphysical Fair is coming up. 2 weeks? Not quite. June 13 and 14 in Des Moines, Iowa. I will be there with my book and the reflection guide. I will have some advanced copies of that as well. So look forward to seeing everyone there. Bye. See you next week.